It was inevitable that a primitive frontier society like the American West would produce its share of criminals, some of whom would become legendary in story and song. The great spaces of the West, with a lot of room to hide in, the meager amounts of policing, and the right to carry firearms openly, produced situations which every American has seen hundreds of times in the movies and on TV and read of in history books and in works of fiction. A classic early song of a gunfight, some say it goes back before 1850, with many, many versions and variations, is known as Frankie and Johnny, sometimes Frankie and Albert, Frankie being the girl in the ballad. Frankie and Johnny were lovers. Oh, Lordy, how they could love. They swore to be true to each other, true as the stars above. He was her man, and he'd done her wrong. Frankie and Johnny went a-walking, Johnny in his brand new suit. Said Frankie to Johnny,
oh Lordy, don't my Johnny man look cute?
He was her man, and he done her wrong. Johnny said, I got to leave you, but I won't be very long. Don't wait up for me, honey, or worry while I am gone. He was her man, he was doing her wrong. Frankie went down to the corner, went in the saloon for some beer. She said to the fat bartender,
has my Johnny man been here?
He was her man, and he done her wrong. Well, I won't tell you no story, and I won't tell you no lie. I saw your Johnny about an hour ago with a gal named Nellie Bly. If he's your man, he's a-doing you wrong. Oh, Frankie got off at South 12th Street, looked up in a window so high, and there she saw her Johnny boy a-hugging that Nellie Bly. He was her man, he was doing her wrong. Frankie pulled out her 6-shooter, pulled out her old 44. Her gun went Rudy toot toot toot, and Johnny rolled over the floor. He was her man, and he done her wrong. Oh, roll me over so easy, oh, roll me over so slow. Oh, roll me over easy, boys, for my wounds, they hurt me so. I was her man, and I done her wrong. Frankie got down on her knees, she took Johnny into her lap. She started to hug and kiss him, but there was no bringing him back. He was her man, and he done her wrong. Gambling and its control is still an important problem today in law enforcement. In the Old West, where gambling was wide open, the professional gambler was as familiar in the scenery as the horse or the pistol. One professional gambler sings about his life as he calls himself the Roving Gambler. I am a roving gambler, I gamble down in town. Wherever I meet with a deck of cards, I lay my money down. I had not been in Washington many more weeks than 3 when I fell in love with a pretty little gal, and she fell in love with me. She took me in her parlor, she cooled me with her fan. She whispered soft in her mother's ear,
I love this gambling man. Oh daughter, oh dear daughter, why do you treat me so? To leave your dear old mother and with a gambler go. Oh mother, oh dear mother, you know I love you well, but the love I have for a gambling man no human tongue can tell.
I've gambled down in Washington, I've gambled down in Spain. I'm going down to Georgia to gamble my last game. I hear the train a-comin', comin' round the curve, a whistling and a blowing and a strainin' every nerve.
Oh mother, oh dear mother, I'll tell you if I can. If you ever see me coming back, it'll be with a gambling man.
I am a roving gambler, I gamble down in town. Wherever I meet with a deck of cards, I lay my money down. Legends and myths, more often than not, are based on true and real events or people, and for some reason we tend to mythologize and romanticize certain men who spend their adult lives fighting the law. In Jesse James, Americans have created a kind of classic Robin Hood figure out of a real-life person whose true story can be found in biographies of James and his brothers. To this day, plays and musicals are being written and produced about our most famous bad man, who still lives on entertainingly, if not accurately, in the Ballad of Jesse James, who was supposed to have been betrayed by his friend Robert Ford while James was living in St. Louis under the pseudonym of Howard. Jesse James was a boy who killed many a man. He robbed the Glendale train. But the dirty little coward who shot Mr. Howard has laid Jesse James in his grave. Poor Jesse had a wife to mourn for his life. 3 children, they were brave. But the dirty little coward who shot Mr. Howard has laid Jesse James in his grave. It was Robert Ford, that dirty little coward. I wonder how he does feel. For he ate of Jesse's bread and he slept in Jesse's bed, then laid poor Jesse in his grave. Poor Jesse had a wife to mourn for his life. 3 children, they were brave. But the dirty little coward who shot Mr. Howard has laid Jesse James in his grave. Jesse was a man, a friend to the poor. He never would see a man suffer pain. And with his brother Frank, he robbed the Chicago bank and stopped the Glendale train. Poor Jesse had a wife to mourn for his life. 3 children, they were brave. But the dirty little coward who shot Mr. Howard has laid Jesse James in his grave. It was on a Saturday night, Jesse was at home, talking with his family brave. Robert Ford came along like a thief in the night and laid poor Jesse in his grave. Poor Jesse had a wife to mourn for his life. 3 children, they were brave. But the dirty little coward who shot Mr. Howard has laid Jesse James in his grave. Jesse went to his rest with his hand on his breast. The devil will be upon his knee. He was born one day in the county of Clay and came from a solitary race. Poor Jesse had a wife to mourn for his life. 3 children, they were brave. But the dirty little coward who shot Mr. Howard has laid Jesse James in his grave. This song was made by Billy Gashade as soon as the news did arrive. He said there was no man with a law in his hand who could take Jesse James when alive. Poor Jesse had a wife to mourn for his life, 3 children, they were brave. But the dirty little coward who shot Mr. Howard has laid Jesse James in his grave. Folk song collectors have run across the next song about a great barroom brawl in Texas, Kansas, Tennessee, and Missouri. It is one of those intriguing and frustrating songs because the story seems to have been based on a real event which has never been tracked down as to specific locale or to specific people. It tells of a man named Duncan, a bartender, and another named Brady, which gives the song its name, Duncan and Brady. Duncan was attending the bar when in walked Sheriff Brady with his shining star. Cried Duncan, you are under arrest. And Duncan shot a hole in Brady's breast. Brady had a 45, said it would shoot about a half a mile. Duncan had a 44, and that's what laid poor Brady low. Brady fell down on the barroom floor, cried, please, Mr. Duncan, don't you shoot me no more. The women cried, oh, ain't it a shame. He shot King Brady, gonna shoot him again. Brady, don't you know you done wrong? You broke in my place when my game was on, knocking down windows and a-tearing down doors. Now you're laying dead on my barroom floor. Mrs. Brady was at home in bed when she got the telegram that Brady was dead. Said, children, put your hat on your head and let's go see if old King Brady's dead. The women all heard that poor Brady was dead, so they go back home and they dressed in red, come a-slippin' and a-sliding up and down the street in their big Mother Hubbards and their stocking feet. His wife came in a mighty flirt. She wiped up the blood in her underskirt, said, hush, my chillin', and don't you cry. You'll all get a pension when your daddy die. Another semi-legendary Robin Hood American type, a bank robber and all-around bandit, was Sam Bass, who was killed by Texas Rangers in Round Rock, Texas on July 20th, 1878. A rather pretentious monument was built for him in Texas, which souvenir hunters ruined, and Carl Sandburg says that it does not contain an epitaph, which many thought was on it, which went, would that he were good as he was brave. Sam was all of 27 when he died. Sam Bass was born in Indiana, it was his native home. And at the age of 17, young Sam began to roam. He came out to old Texas, a cowboy for to be. A kinder-hearted feller you'll seldom ever see. A kinder-hearted feller you'll seldom ever see. Sam used to deal in race stock, one called the Denton mare. He matched her in scrub races and took her to the fair. Sam used to coin the money and spent it just as free. He always drank good whiskey wherever he might be. He always drank good whiskey wherever he might be. Sam left the Collins Ranch in the merry month of May with a herd of Texas cattle, the Black Hills for to see. Sold out in Custer City and then got on a spree. A harder set of cowboys you'll seldom ever see. A harder set of cowboys you'll seldom ever see. On their way back to Texas, they robbed the UP train and then split up in couples and started out again. Joe Collins and his partner were overtaken soon. With all their hard-earned money, they had to meet their doom. With all their hard-earned money, they had to meet their doom. Sam had 4 companions, 4 bold and daring lads. They were Richardson, Jackson, Joe Collins, and Old Dad. 4 more bold and daring cowboys the Rangers never knew. They whipped the Texas Rangers and ran the boys in blue. They whipped the Texas Rangers and ran the boys in blue. Jim Murphy was arrested and then released on bail. He jumped his bond to Tyler and then took the train for Terrell. But Mayo Jones had posted Jim and that was all a stall. 'Twas only a plan to capture Sam before the coming fall. 'Twas only a plan to capture Sam before the coming fall. Sam met his fate at Round Rock, July the 23rd. They pierced poor Sam with rifle balls and emptied out his purse. Poor Sam, he is a corpse and 6 feet under clay. And Jackson's in the bushes trying to get away. And Jackson's in the bushes trying to get away. And so they sold out Sam and left his friends to burn. Oh, what a scorching Jim will get when Gabriel blows his horn. Perhaps he got to heaven, there's none of us can tell. But if I'm right in my surmise, he's gone right straight to hell. But if I'm right in my surmise, he's gone right straight to hell.